Alongside Eric Kane, Rob Lewis, and Brett Hubbs, I'm Austin Price for the Rocky Top Roundtable. We are to the third Saturday in October. It's Tennessee and Alabama coming up on Saturday, and this game's got a lot of different possibilities. Tennessee's not won down there since 2003.
Yeah, and Tennessee's not played. They've not finished down there. There have been some times they've gone down there, Rob, where they've just not been able to compete. They've not been good enough. There have been other times where they've had a chance and they've not been able to finish it. And I think that's the challenge for Tennessee this week, is to make it a 60-minute fight.
And even, with not Heupel's best teams, they have gone down there and been in it, at least more so than they were in, the decade of futility, there from 2010 to 2020. But like you said, didn't finish. Played a great first half that nobody saw coming 2 years ago with Joe Milton, and we're right there, and feels like a lot's got to go right for Tennessee Saturday.
Feels like it's going to take a lot of points here.
Yeah.
No, it does, and it does feel like a lot's going to go right. But Rob, with the way this offense is scoring, and I know they left a lot of meat on that bone against Arkansas. It's still like if your defense is not getting a couple of turnovers the way the defense is playing right now, then yeah, it feels like it's a lot that's got to go right. But Alabama's allowing a lot of yards on the ground. Alabama's their turnover margin is really, really good, but they're not running the football effectively. I know they've had some injuries there with Jam Miller. We'll see about his status this week. I guess my point is Nick Saban's on that sideline, and there are some definite glaring evidence that he's not on that sideline, because this is not a monumental type Alabama team, but a very good Alabama football team.
Let's start with the offense. Let's talk about Tennessee's offense. Obviously, they've been able to move the ball, put up points. This past game, they had some, ill-timed penalties that kind of shot themselves in the foot. They can't do that in Tuscaloosa. I think what you said is right, though. For Tennessee to go down there and win, I think they're going to have to get into some semblance of a shootout.
Well, just because of what we've seen out of Tennessee's defense. The good news for Tennessee offensively is when you look at them, Rob, and you start going possession by possession, it's hard to find a lot of possessions where you go, boy, the defense just really stuffed Tennessee. Feels like a lot of Tennessee stops. And any game they play, going back to Georgia, is Tennessee stopping themselves. I'm not saying they're perfect offensively, but it's a lot of Tennessee self-inflicted wounds, which is why you keep hearing coaches talk about meat on the bone, leaving points out there.
100%. I think the most frustrating thing in line with that the other day was not playing complimentary football after a couple of those takeaways, especially the one where you took over around midfield. But Tennessee, out of the 3 turnovers, only got points off 2 of them, and that's those are huge momentum swings. And had Tennessee taken advantage of that, I think everybody would have felt a little bit differently about Saturday's final score anyway.
Eric, the health of Deshaun Bishop, to me, is going to be critical for this football game, because he feels like he's seeing it, and he's a little more patient than the other two. I think Peyton Lewis is coming along. It feels like Star Thomas just has no patience at all right now, and Deshaun Bishop does.
Yeah, on the rewatch, I think Star had one pretty good run where he kind of cut it back and looked pretty good. The other times, I think he's been forcing things. I know on that third down late in the game, I think he gets likely a first down there if he doesn't cut it back. He was just too impatient. But you're right about Deshaun. He's seeing it well, his patience, speed to get to the second and third layer, and then to break a big play. He was trying to get back in the football game the other night. Obviously, they wouldn't let him. It looked like, at least from my eyes, that he was moving around well after the game. But obviously, that's a day-by-day thing. Tennessee needs him. Tennessee needs all those guys. But you certainly want your best running back, and Deshaun Bishop is clearly Tennessee's best running back right now.
The health of the receivers. They're really thin. But, as long as they stay healthy, they should be good, because they don't rotate a whole lot. And, kind of each game, you're finding somebody different to kind of pick out as Tennessee's marquee guy. They're doing a nice job of brother-in-lawing. It's not just one guy. Every game's kind of different.
Well, all 3 of those guys can do everything. They're not pigeonholed into one route or one type of route. They could run a lot of different things. I think that's the interesting matchup in this game when you look at it. Alabama's secondary has not given up a lot of yards, and they have been good defensively in defending the pass. Now, is that because they play great passing teams, or has that been, those numbers are a little bit skewed because they haven't played a prolific passing team yet? I don't know, but I think that's the intriguing matchup. Can Tennessee win in their perimeter game with the receivers against Alabama's secondary?
I think that's huge, and I've not done a deep dive yet, but kind of just the tip of the iceberg of what you're talking about. Gunnar Stockton lit Tennessee up. But a lot of people have. He didn't have a great game against Alabama that night, but other than that, I don't know how great of a passing attack they've seen, and certainly receivers. AP, you mentioned it. I thought that was kind of noteworthy. Chris Brazel probably went into that game on Saturday as the most productive receiver in the league, or one of the top 2 or 3. He has 1 catch for 5 yards, and Tennessee's passing game doesn't really miss a beat. I think that tells you a lot about where they are.
Yeah, and how much is that? Because I mean, it's certainly not to the degree of Tennessee or Arkansas, but they're not defending the run very well at all. I mean, they're 8th or 9th in the league, giving up about 165 yards. So there's going to be opportunity there for a Tennessee offense that rush for 264 against a really bad offense, and so or a really bad defense in Arkansas. How much does that play a factor in that as well? Plus, Alabama does not really rush the quarterback all that well. I mean, maybe they haven't tried as much. Maybe because of the offensive schemes, they're getting the football out quickly. Only 9 sacks on the season. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity there for Tennessee's offense to score points. And again, like we said earlier, it's going to be up to Tennessee's defense to either create some takeaways or make some consistent stops, but they haven't done that this year.
Well, Tennessee has done defensively the one thing you just mentioned, which is force some takeaways.
Yeah. And sack the quarterback.
Yeah. And sack the quarterback. Yeah. 25 sacks on the year. They only had 29 all of last year. When they flash big. And when they don't, right? I mean, it's kind of been like they're either really, really good or really, really bad, and there's no in between. Why?
Because they've not been good enough on the back end in zone coverage, in my opinion. I mean, when that front 4 gets there, then it looks good. When they don't get there, there's a lot of windows and holes to throw the football in, and teams are taking advantage of that. Tennessee has to find a way to not allow Ty Simpson to get in rhythm and stay in rhythm. They've got to disrupt his rhythm somehow, pass rush, blitz, whatever the case may be. Because it's hard to sit here, Rob, and look at this team 6 games in and suddenly say they're going to become really good in the back end and defending receivers and playing zone coverage.
Yeah, I mean, you're halfway through the season. I mean, I think by this point you are where you are. I mean, you can tighten some things up here and there, but just wholesale dramatic improvement, I think is wishful thinking at this point. But, yeah, I mean, Ty Simpson has got to be kind of licking his chops a little bit. If Arkansas's running back saw some holes in Tennessee's defense, what do you think Ty Simpson is seeing? The way he's playing and throwing the football right now, and Alabama, that was a tough, gritty win for Alabama on Saturday at Missouri. I don't know that I would say they're firing on all cylinders right now, but they have certainly, I feel like, kind of righted the ship and found their footing. Tennessee
goes on the road. This will be the toughest road environment they've played into this point this year. Mississippi State, no offense to the Cowbells, it'll be. And I never think that that Bryant Denny is like the mecca of loud, but it's still constantly pretty loud. What is the key for Tennessee in this game? What do you feel like has to happen for them to go on the road and get a win?
Well, I don't think you have to play perfect. I think that's you don't want to go into with the mentality of we have to play perfect to have a chance to win. I think that's a false narrative, and it's something you should never think that way. But what Tennessee can't do is they can't have the self-inflicted wounds.
I agree.
You can't turn 3rd and 5 into 3rd and 6 because you jumped off sides or you had a false start. You can't have 15-yard personal foul penalties on defense. You can't turn it over. You can't muff a punt. Tennessee can't hurt themselves. They've got to play a cleaner brand of football than what we've seen Tennessee play to this point this season.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that as well. And plus, you got to take advantage of what's given to you, right? Again, we go back to there were 6 total stops in that game against Arkansas. Tennessee scored 14 points off those 6 total stops. It's not good enough whatsoever. You got to take advantage of field position. You got to take advantage of what your defense is giving you, and their defense is giving you something. And also, we talk about it every single week, it's the start. Tennessee needs to have a good start. Tennessee is a very fast-starting football team offensively, really fast-starting football game defensively as well prior to the Arkansas game. I think starting fast, getting your feet settled in a little bit, maybe it'll take the balloon, the air out of that crowd a little bit, but also it'll just make you feel like you're not just trying to climb out of a hole all game long, because Tennessee obviously can score points. Tennessee obviously can win this football game, but it is a game that you haven't won in the stadium since '03. Mind games will be a part of this as well. You got to move past that, get off to a good start.
Rob?
I mean, it's hard to quantify or put in a box, but just play the way that you've been playing. I mean, to Hubbard's point, I mean, yes, you can't make mistakes, but I mean, to me, the most enjoyable aspect about this team, or at least Joey and the defense, is they just make plays, but they're not perfect. I mean, sometimes you might see 5 missed tackles and a busted coverage on a touchdown drive, but then boom, strip sack, fumble, momentum change. So I mean, they've got to make those kind of plays in this environment. Offensively, Joey's got to keep pushing it downfield. Averaged almost 15 yards of completion against Arkansas. He's got to continue to be aggressive that way while not putting it in harm's way. But to me, I mean, they're not going to be perfect. They're not going to be great on defense all of a sudden. So just keep making, those kind of plays, sacks, turnovers, push the ball downfield on offense.
The word you just used is the word I was going to use, which is aggressive. You've got to be aggressive if you're Tennessee. You've got to be aggressive on defense. You've got to get after Ty Simpson. It may mean that the other team's band's playing, on any given play.
It's gonna be wild.
But you've got to put them on their heels. Don't let them get going full head of steam north and south with their offense, and then offensively keep the pedal down. If you get the lead, like Saturday, or like when you had the lead against Georgia.
If you have a lead, that doesn't necessarily mean at 4th and 3 at midfield with 10 minutes to go in the game, you go for it there. I mean, keep playing the game. I think Billy Napier took Florida out of the A&M game by going for it with 13 minutes to play, down 7 when it was 4th and 6. I think you have to balance that, and I think that's something that coaches get into too much analytics and don't overthink it. They go by the notebook instead of the feel of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I know a lot of fans are frustrated that Heupel punted from the 47 or whatever it was, and again, it goes back to that Star Thomas play. 3rd and 3, you run the football. I think if you run the play that's called, you probably pick up that first down. I personally had no issue with punting it right there, just trying to play field position. Heupel certainly did that a lot in the 24 season. Austin is what you're pointing out. When you can lean on that defense and you can lean on that run game. But I too, I mean, when you have a chance to go win that football game, go win it. But I think, certain situations, certainly the flow of the game, I think all that dictates kind of how you call a football game late in the contest.
It is Tennessee, it's Alabama coming up on Saturday night in Tuscaloosa. For Eric Kane, Rob Lewis, and Brent Hubbs, I'm Austin Price.